Something is happening to men. You feel it in your gut, see it in their eyes, and hear it in their silence. A quiet crisis, unspoken, unaddressed, is unraveling the identity of modern men. While we raise awareness for almost every cause, this one remains taboo. Why? Because the pain of men has become controversial. The woke movement, while amplifying the voices of many marginalized groups, has also inadvertently turned the word masculinity into a threat. The very traits that once built civilizations, strength, stoicism, leadership, ambition, are now labeled as toxic. But here's the truth. Masculinity is not toxic. The absence of mature, grounded masculinity is. This documentary is not an attack. It's a wake-up call. A call to arms, not with weapons, but with wisdom. We will explore the decline of male identity, its historical roots, cultural sabotage, and the new rise of the alpha, not as a domineering tyrant, but as a purpose-driven, emotionally intelligent, and grounded man. From lost to alpha. This is the journey of the modern man reclaiming what was nearly destroyed. Masculinity, also called manhood or manliness, is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles generally associated with men and boys. It can be theoretically understood as socially constructed, shaped by centuries of norms, rituals, and expectations. At the same time, biological factors undeniably influence certain masculine traits, such as risk-taking, physical strength, and competitiveness. In essence, masculinity is a delicate dance between nature and nurture. Across cultures and historical periods, the definition of masculinity has varied, from the warrior codes of the samurai and Spartans to the Stoic philosophers of Rome and the pioneers of the industrial age. Manhood was seen not only as a biological condition, but a moral and social journey. To become a man was to earn it, to rise above the boyish self and take on responsibility, protection, and provision. Yet in modern society, this rite of passage has been blurred. The shift away from traditional masculinity didn't begin with the woke movement. It started gradually, with industrialization removing men from the family farms, wars leaving generations of fathers absent, and consumer capitalism redefining worth by wealth instead of wisdom. Then came the 21st century, and with it, a digital age that offered freedom but fostered isolation.
And you know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke.
Let's be clear. The woke movement started with noble intentions, equality, justice, and awareness. But along the way, it morphed. Masculinity, rather than being seen as a spectrum with healthy and unhealthy expressions, was painted with one brush: toxic. In schools, young boys are told to sit still, be quiet, and not roughhouse, traits often natural to male development. In media, male characters are often either buffoons or abusers. On social platforms, men voicing their struggles are mocked or silenced. We created a narrative where femininity is empowerment and masculinity is oppression. What gets lost in this binary war is the truth. Masculinity and femininity are not enemies. They are complementary energies, both necessary for human flourishing. But when one is demonized, the balance collapses. And when men are told to suppress their masculine instincts, they don't become better. They become broken. Today, millions of men suffer in silence. Suicide rates are highest among men. Male depression is underdiagnosed. Men are falling behind in education, work, and emotional resilience. They're told to open up, but shamed when they do. Told to be strong, then mocked for being traditional. The modern man is stuck between two worlds, the outdated stereotype of the macho man and the confused messaging of postmodern identity. This has led to what psychologists call the lost boy syndrome. These are men who never fully matured. They drift through life without purpose, passion, or power. Raised without strong male role models, immersed in instant gratification from porn, video games, and dopamine hits from social media, they retreat into fantasy rather than confront reality. They're not weak, they're wounded, and society offers them no healing, only ridicule. Boys need men to become men. But where are the mentors? Where are the fathers? In many homes, the father is absent. In many schools, masculinity is shunned. In media, men are villains or jokes. And so the boy never grows up. He becomes a man in age, but not in essence. But here's where the story shifts. Amid the confusion, a quiet rebellion is rising. A generation of men is choosing not to be victims, but victors. The new alpha isn't the chest-thumping brute of Hollywood. He's self-aware, grounded. He lifts others while standing tall himself. He leads with compassion, not control. He trains his body, sharpens his mind, and masters his emotions. This rebirth begins with pain, with a moment of reckoning when a man realizes he is lost. And in that moment, he chooses to rise. Through discipline, mentorship, purpose, and community, he starts the climb. Reclaiming masculinity doesn't mean rejecting emotion. It means integrating it. It means saying, I can be fierce and kind, strong and sensitive, a protector and a poet. He finds his tribe, brothers who hold him accountable, not comfortable. He embraces challenge, not comfort. He trades instant gratification for long-term growth. Purpose. Without purpose, a man drifts. Purpose gives direction. Whether it's building a family, launching a business, or mastering a craft, the alpha lives for something greater than himself. Discipline. In a world of distractions, discipline is rare and powerful. The alpha trains his mind and body daily, resisting temptation to build integrity. Brotherhood. Healing happens in community. Iron sharpens iron. The alpha surrounds himself with men who challenge him. Emotional mastery. He feels deeply, but is not ruled by emotion. He communicates, reflects, and leads from inner stability. Service. Real masculinity serves. The alpha protects, provides, and uplifts, not out of ego, but out of love.
You have put all your faith and reliance onto these medical practitioners, then you're going to end up believing exactly what they're saying. And over the course of the years, I most certainly believed in what they were telling us, that I was an ideal candidate for gender reassignment surgery. And I submitted to that idea. And that is a regret in itself. I regret trusting them. I really do.
Just explain a bit, just as the sort of broad view of your own story of transitioning, of gender dysphoria, and the surgery that you eventually underwent.
Yeah, of course. So I entered the NHS services in my early 20s with a lot of mental health issues. One of them, the main problem that I had was a very high level of obsessive compulsive disorder and undiagnosed autism. I had a lot of difficulties in school, just growing up in general, feeling alien, all the issues that these sort of things can bring to a person. And by the age of 25, I'd found gender dysphoria online, and to me, it fit all those markers of everything I'd been through perfectly. And from the second that obsession took over, there was no challenge, no question. It was just, yes, you are, because you say you are. And because you're a bit like us, actually, then you definitely are. And then I went to the medical professionals, and it just got worse. When I entered the gender clinic service in 2015 officially, the first question they asked me was, do you want surgery? And to be honest, I was really there for the help and the therapy. And I underwent a lot of therapy there. And by about 2.5 years into the therapy, the gender clinic were a little bit sick of us being on their books, as it were, because I kept refusing surgery. And then they give us the ultimatum, it's surgery or discharge. And by that point, because it was like 2.5 years in and I had a lot of professionals venerating my transsexual identity, I'd fully bought into the idea. And then I had the surgery in 2018 and instantly knew that that was not what I should have done. Not only did the surgery go wrong, I had a lot of bleeding, I've got urinary issues, pain, and I believe that to be like extraordinarily rare. But when I started recovering, I realized that there's a lot of people like this, and we're just kind of getting silenced off, and we need safeguards, we need protection, just like every vulnerable person does in any situation. And that's a synopsis of my story.
Thank you for that.
What kind of world do we want to build? One where men are ashamed to be men, or one where boys are raised to be noble, loving, fierce, and wise? Masculinity must evolve, but not disappear. We need warriors who wield love as much as strength, leaders who listen, fathers who guide, brothers who bond. The crisis of the modern man is real, but so is the solution. It begins with each man looking in the mirror and asking, who am I becoming? We don't need more finger pointing. We need more men standing up, stepping in, and rising from lost to alpha, not as a title, but as a transformation. Subscribe to our channel to be part of this community. The time is now.